Today on campus, we've got stories from 1 to 100. On the shores of Lake Ontario at the State University of New York at Oswego, the men's ice hockey team won the school's first ever NCAA team championship. At UCLA, the women's water polo team won the national championship, and the Bruins became the first to 100, the first NCAA school to win 100 championships. We'll meet some of the people who helped build that legacy. NCAA champions were also crowned at the D3 Men's Golf Championship, and we'll talk with Clinton Dahman of St. John's University, who won individual honors. The two recipients of the NCAA's highest academic award were selected, and we'll meet them. Plus, a swimming champion at SUNY Oswego, honored for her work in the classroom and community. NCAA President Miles Brand will be here, and so will the Zips. It's all on now, and it's all on campus.
Hi everybody, I'm Kenny Garman and welcome to NCAA on Campus. It's sunny summertime, so what better place to be than SUNY Oswego? It was just 90 days ago that this motley crew surrounding me won the school's first ever NCAA team championship. We'll talk with the D3 hockey champions in just a minute. But first, let's go across country to Melissa Knowles in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Kenny, and congratulations to those Oswego hockey players. Now I'm surrounded by two women, Emily and Kelly, who like their H2O a little bit warmer. These two ladies are members of the UCLA women's water polo team. And just about a month ago, they did something really historic. They won the 100th national team title for UCLA. Now that is an NCAA record. How did the Bruins do it? I'm gonna get you some answers.
And I'm Nicole Mansky outside NCAA headquarters in Indianapolis. Dane Todd plays football for Division I powerhouse Nebraska. Katie Kingsbury plays tennis for Division III Washington and Lee University. Two very different NCAA experiences, but they do have something in common, a postgraduate scholarship from the NCAA. And we're going to meet both of them later on. But right now, let's get things started in upstate New York with Kenny Garman.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, let's meet some national champions. Introduce yourself, guys.
Ryan Kreski.
Trevor Gilligan.
Ryan Woodward.
Now, Ryan, tell me about those last two games. Man, I understand they were off the chain.
Yeah, both games were thrillers. And in the semifinal versus St. Norbert, we were down 3-2 going into the third period. We tied it up, and we won the game in overtime. And then the next day, we played the defending national champions, Middlebury, and again, we won in overtime, 4-3.
Now, Trevor, you got to tell me, man, what did it feel like when Middlebury, the defending national champions, tied the game up with 3 minutes remaining?
It was a numbing feeling, man. I felt like we played real solid all game. They had an unbelievable squad. Goalie played unreal all game. Tied up with 3 minutes to go. There's nothing you can do but go in the locker room and strap things together. We had a couple big speeches in the locker room. Came out in the overtime and played our game, and things went our way.
Now, Ryan, what kind of reaction did you get back on campus bringing home the first national title?
Honestly, it was a great experience. We shared with the community and the fans. It was unbelievable. We had a great time. We've been partying. It's awesome. Unbelievable.
Well, congratulations to all of you. Now, who knows Shelly Dan?
Yeah, I know Shelly. She's a great student athlete, both in the classroom and the pool. She's had a lot of success here.
Well, the chancellor of the State University of New York is pretty impressed with her, too. He honored Shelly Dan with the Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence.
The State University of New York is huge, the largest system of universities, colleges, and community colleges in the U.S. with over 400,000 students spread across 64 campuses. From that immense student body, a select few are honored with the Chancellor's Award that recognizes students who have earned a high GPA and made a significant contribution to their school and community. This spring, student athlete Shelly Dan of Oswego State was one of those honored. In the classroom, she's a double major in psychology and public justice with a 3.75 GPA. And she does her best work in the middle of the intense swim season.
It's when you're out of season, when you're able to have more free time, that you you don't pay attention as much, you don't manage your time as well. I think as an athlete, it actually helps you to manage your time.
When she's not studying and when she's not swimming, she's busy volunteering.
I have been a peer advisor for the Public Justice Department, and what that is I advise students to their schedules, I pick classes for them to take, I help them with any problems that they have. I've done community service for VEGA, which is Women's Honor Society. We go out to the elderly people's homes and we rake for the day. And we bag it up and take it away, and it's just something nice that we can do for the Oswego community. I also did the Learn to Swim program. I worked with kids from the ages of 2 to 5, and I taught them how to swim. Well, I taught them how to float, basically.
Floating is something Shelly rarely does in the pool. She is a part of relay teams that own school and conference records, and she is a 5-time SUNY Athletic Conference champion. She has helped the Lakers win 3 consecutive conference championships, but it was losing in her freshman year that she enjoyed the most.
My coach is going to kill me for this. No, I definitely think that finishing second my freshman year was more of a victory than finishing first our sophomore year. It definitely was. We came together as a team my freshman year. I don't believe that winning is always the best thing. I think that having a challenging atmosphere is really important. To be a good swimmer, I think it just takes dedication. I didn't dedicate myself to it in high school. I didn't care about it. It was just something fun. And in college, you really have to be motivated. It's a lot more work. It's every day. It's working as hard as you can and not giving up, because I think that there's a lot of times that as a swimmer, you can give up. You can give up in a set. You can make it through the set without doing any work. But I think that if you want to do well and you want to be competitive, you really have to be dedicated to the sport.
Next year, Shelly hopes to head off to law school. She'll leave Oswego with the records and the Chancellor's Award and a big thank you to the NCAA experience. But she'll probably leave the swimming behind.
I definitely can't imagine my college experience without swimming. It's taken up most of my time, but it's also given so much back to me. I've made so many friends that I would have never made otherwise. I really think that that's something that I'm done with. I've liked it. It's been a part of my life. I will miss it, but if I hadn't done it over the past 4 years, I would probably be a nerd with a 4.0 and no friends. And that's about it.
Congratulations to Shelly, and congratulations to the Icemen of Oswego, the 2007 Division III hockey champions. On Campus, we'll be right back.
NCAA on Campus is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero.
Welcome back on campus. I'm Nicole Mansky in Indianapolis, and this beautiful building is the home of the NCAA. Each year since 1988, the association has awarded the Walter Byers Postgraduate Scholarship. It's named for the NCAA's original executive director, and it is their highest academic honor. Dane Todd of Nebraska and Katie Kingsbury of Washington and Lee will each receive a $21,500 postgraduate scholarship, and believe me, they have earned it.
This Beyond the Athlete feature is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero.
They play very different sports. On the tennis court, it's 1-on-1. On the football field, it's 11-on-11. They play at 2 very different universities. One on the Great Plains of the Midwest, Division I football in front of 80,000 football-crazed Cornhusker fans. The other in the Great Valley of Virginia, Division III tennis, in front of dozens of family and friends. But for all of their differences, the NCAA has honored Katie Kingsbury and Dane Todd because of what they share: brilliance and dedication in the classroom, a commitment to their team on the athletic field.
My major is psychology. My grade point average is 3.99. I'm going to grad school at the University of Connecticut for educational psychology, and I'll be pursuing my doctorate there.
Katie is most impressive because of her gentle but penetrating intellect. She never attempts to bowl over anyone or to intimidate anyone in the way she expresses herself, but she always asks incisive questions and has penetrating comments to make about any topic that's being discussed in a classroom.
Dane graduated from Nebraska with a perfect 4.0 GPA in biological sciences. If you were ever going to have somebody show up at your doorstep to ask your daughter out, he would be the guy you would want. He's an outstanding student. He's an outstanding person. He's been involved in the community. He's talented in many different ways, and he knows exactly what he wants to do. I look back at his transcript, and he had more A+s on his transcript than he had A's. He's been accepted at the University of Nebraska Medical Center and Emory University, and you know, he's won every academic honor you could win.
You know, it was tough at times to find enough time in the day to get everything in that you wanted to do, but learning how to prioritize was one of the very first things I had to do when I got to campus.
I bought a planner for the first time my freshman year and have used it ever since. You know, you really have to mark out the hours. When am I going to study? When am I going to go to class? When can I hang out with friends? When do I need to be on the court? Just learning to balance those things, and that's one way that I see academics and athletics merging.
During Katie's junior year, she came to me and told me that she had selected some advanced classwork to take, some things that she needed to take that would be very time demanding. We talked about the priorities and setting the priorities, and we both agreed that it was more important that she set her academic endeavors as her priorities. It takes a really special person to move from a starting position and to be able to graciously accept the role of a non-starter and to contribute to the team. Katie was amazing.
It's been a humbling experience to see that there's more to being on a team than just ranking up the points and winning the matches. You want to be there as a role model, as a mentor, as a friend, as a supporter, giving them advice if they want it, if they need it, bringing them their water bottles. I mean, the smallest things really make a difference, I think, and that's what I see my role as, is learning to support my teammates where they need it.
Playing fullback, we don't look for the recognition. It's the greatest pride we can have is watching our guys go untouched through a hole. And I have more fun watching those guys run and excel during games and get the accolades knowing that I was a part of that. There were times when I was overmatched. There were times when there were people who were bigger, stronger, and faster than I was. But you know, I had 5 years to get to their level. And if I spent every day working at it, eventually I'd get there. And same thing academically, if I spent enough time plugging away and studying and learning concepts, eventually I'd be able to teach it myself. There's so few people who actually make it in athletics, make any sort of a living doing it. I had no choice but to do my best every time I walked in the classroom, and I couldn't just put football up on a pedestal and say that's who I am. I wanted to be a student first and then an athlete second.
She represents everything that I think the NCAA wants in the buyer's honor. She is a student, she's a great student athlete, she's a tremendous person. We know that we can count on Katie to represent the institution as well as anybody nationwide, and we're so proud of everything she's done.
Congratulations to both Katie and Dane, and good luck with your postgraduate studies. On campus, we'll be right back with a look at UCLA and their 100 NCAA team titles.
NCAA on campus, powered by Pontiac. 9 performance machines, all designed for action.
Welcome back on campus. I'm Melissa Knowles, and I'm here at the Hall of Champions at the University of California, Los Angeles, known to most of us as UCLA. On May 13th, the women's water polo team gave the Bruins their 100th national team title, the very first school in NCAA history to reach that goal. The story of UCLA's 100 titles is an epic with an all-star cast. It started in 1950. The men's tennis team was the NCAA champion. And in fact, 8 of the first 11 championships were in tennis. And then in 1964, the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden, started winning championships on the basketball court. He won 10 of them in 11 years. Although Coach Wooden may be the most famous UCLA mentor, the leader in Bruin championships is the men's volleyball team with 19. And all of those teams from 1970 to the championship team of 2006 have been coached by one man, Al Skates.
My office is right next to Al Skates, and he's won 19 national championships, more than any other coach in any other sport in the country. So you're surrounded by greatness constantly, and with that comes a little bit of pressure, and comes the high expectations of winning a championship.
The softball team of 1982 was the first women's team to win an NCAA championship. And talk about equity. In the 26 years that the NCAA has awarded both men's and women's titles, UCLA has won 30 men's titles and 30 women's titles. So perhaps it was fitting that a women's athletic program claim UCLA's 100th crown.
There was a lot of talk about the number 100 this year with all the teams, I think. And with us winning number 99 last year, it was a long time since another team got a championship.
We tried to downplay the number 100 thing as much as we could. Being a Bruin myself, and having so much pride in coaching at this university, there is a sense of pressure. I think it became more important to them that they won as a team.
The opportunity for women now is great. That many women's championships, it's really special, and it's a really cool thing to see because it hasn't been around for that long, and just to know that in the past women didn't have an opportunity to compete, and just to know that now we can experience the same thing that men's sports have experienced and compete at that high level, and I think the passion is just the same.
Overall, 16 different Bruin programs have collected national crowns, 5 in women's water polo and women's gymnastics, 8 each to the men's track and field and men's water polo teams, 10 in softball, 11 in men's basketball, and 16 by the guys who started it all 57 years ago, the men's tennis program. Plus multiple titles for men's gymnastics and soccer and women's golf, track and field, and volleyball. The numbers and records go on and on. Starting in 1969, there were 3 straight years where they won 4 titles in a year. And for 40 of the past 43 years, UCLA has won at least 1 title. So, is there a secret to the Bruins' success?
Having worn the uniform myself as a baseball player back in the day, I know how special it was to represent this university in the field of play. And having had great student athletes over the years, like a Jackie Robinson and a Jackie Joyner-Kersey, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lisa Fernandez, Bill Walton, some of the best that ever played their respective sports.
I think one thing we all share is just a love for the school and wanting to do well for UCLA and for each other. And I think everybody that comes here wants to win, and they're expecting to win. They're not going to accept a loss very easily. And I think just that competitiveness and work ethic and just, I don't know, passion for athletics is really important here.
We're obviously moving forward to 101 after receiving the 100th national championship, and our student athletes and coaches are just as committed to winning that next one as they have been to winning 100. And I think that's what's so wonderful about UCLA athletics. The expectations continue, the throttle stays down, and everyone's looking forward to the next one, which will happen at some point in time in the near future.
These student athletes have been part of an historic win. But now the big question at UCLA is who's going to bring home number 101? Now, speaking of champions, last month in Fishers, Indiana, the Johnnies from St. John's University in Minnesota had a wonderful day on the golf course. They took home their first ever D3 golf championship. Division III St. John's University is accustomed to winning championships. What they're not accustomed to is winning them in a sport other than football. Last month, they did just that by winning the title at the Division III Men's Golf Championships in Fishers, Indiana. They also produced the individual national champion, Clinton Dahman, who was practically born with the club in his hand.
Mom told me I started hitting balls when I was pretty young at the house. I was around 2 or 3, I think, and then decided we had to get a membership, so went out to the golf course and started there.
As a team, St. John's claimed the title by a dominant 12 strokes over the University of Laverne, collecting the school's first hardware since the football team in 2003. Clinton won the individual title with a final round score of 72. finishing at 1 under par for the tournament and 8 strokes ahead of second place Jacob Collinsworth from Huntingdon College. Clinton credits a lot of his success to the support of his parents.
They're always supportive and come to the tournaments when they can. During the summer, we have a family membership, and my dad and I play on men's night at times, and on the weekends we play when we can.
So has the teacher become the student? Can Clinton whoop his dad on the golf course now that he's a national champion?
He always beats me by 1 on the last hole. He says I'm always 1 down going into the last hole, and then if I birdie, he'll birdie, so I always lose.
Congratulations, St. John's. On Campus will be right back.
Singular's name is now AT&T. Your world delivered.
Welcome back on campus. It is time to meet the Zips. And where else would you meet them but on Mascot Mania?
Zippy, the bouncing kangaroo from the University of Akron in northeastern Ohio. His lineage starts almost a full century ago. Way back in the mid-1920s, Akron held a campus-wide contest to choose a university nickname. Freshman Margaret Hamlin submitted an interesting moniker. It came from the B.F. Goodrich Company's new title for a device called the Class Locker, better known today as the Zipper. Akron adopted the name Zippers, and Hamlin received a pair of rubber overshoes with the now well-known tire company's name emblazoned on them as her prize. 25 years later, the school student council selected the kangaroo as the mascot because they felt it possessed all the key qualities of a well-rounded athlete: speed, agility, power, and determination. On October 1st, 1955, Akron Jr. Pete Deming debuted at the annual Acme Zip game as Mr. Zip. 10 years later, the nickname would evolve when the 1965 football press brochure referred to their mascot as Zippy for the first time. The mischievous marsupial loves children of all ages and now entertains fans year-round at various community events.
Inside this building, with his door always open to answer questions from NCAA student-athletes, is NCAA President Miles Brand, and it is time to ask Miles.
Hi, my name is Cody Cipriano. I'm a senior baseball player from UC Irvine, and I have a question for you, Dr. Brand. I'm a little concerned that the uniform start date for baseball due to take place next season is going to hurt warm weather schools, especially when it comes to postseason play. What do you think?
We have an issue in baseball, namely that it's easier to play baseball in the warm weather states than it is in the cold weather states. And that was under discussion for many years. How can we deal with the disadvantages that the cool weather states have, particularly at the start of the season? We've reached a compromise in the starting dates in order that both the warm and cool weather schools can be competitive. It's important that we have honest competition in baseball, and that is the reason we're doing it the way we are.
Thank you, Dr. Brand, and thanks to everyone who helped us out this month at Oswego State, UCLA, Nebraska, and Washington and Lee.
You can always check out the show on the NCAA website, ncaa.org. And please, if you have any comments or story suggestions, email us at ncaaoncampus@ncaa.org.
We'll see you next month on Wednesday, July 18th at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Classic. Until then, make the most of your time on campus.